hot summer afternoon on the banks of the Mississippi. We are in downtown St. Louis. Cardinals baseball this afternoon on FSM Midwest as the San Francisco Giants look to make it 3 in a row over the St. Louis Cardinals. Unfortunately, defense has been the story, or lack thereof, for the Cardinals in this series. Friday night, misplay with the bases loaded by Sho Taguchi. Then an inning to forget for Aaron Miles as he would commit 3 errors in that inning. The Cardinals on whole committed 4. And the Giants have taken the first 2 games of this series. That's Al Hrabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to baseball. Welcome to the broadcast booth here at Busch Stadium. For Aaron Miles, he was playing shortstop last night. Tony La Russa puts him right back in the lineup. He's at second today.
Well, as a player, that's the only thing you could hope from your manager, to put you back in there just to say, okay, that was a bad game, but let's get over it. I have confidence in you. One thing I'll say about those defense the last couple games is, remember, because of injury, we have guys that wouldn't be out there that are playing defense. Edmonds and Eckstein are the everyday guys, and hopefully we'll see them right after the break.
Talking with Tony La Russa on the pregame show, he said it's still undecided what they're going to do with Todd Wellemeyer, Brad Thompson, Kip Wells. They'll make that decision on the plane to San Francisco as they head for the All-Star game, our final game before the break today. So this is a big start for Todd Wellemeyer.
It really is. Now, there's good and bad with Todd. He's got a power arm, and he is learning how to pitch in the rotation. But it's still a project. Some days he'll give you that 5 or 6 innings. Other days it's 2 or 3 innings. Barry Zito on the other side has just been one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. A devastating curveball. He can throw his fastball 86 miles an hour right by hitters because of that curveball. And as Mark Mulder said, what really makes him is an excellent changeup.
All right, we're just about set to go. It is game number 3. The San Francisco Giants with Barry Zito on the mound against the Cardinals. Rolen and Pujols in the lineup. Should be fun. Giants looking for the sweep. Back in downtown St. Louis, where the Cardinals look to avoid a sweep at the hands of the San Francisco Giants here at Busch Stadium. Flashback once again to 1987. Tension. Game 7 of the National League Championship Series between the Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants. Atlee Hammaker on the mound, and the Cardinals would get to him in a 4-run second inning. Pendleton, Pena, McGee all with base hits, but the big blow in the game came from an unlikely source. The secret weapon, one of Whitey's favorites, would step to the plate, and Jose Oquendo would deliver. A 3-run homer for St. Louis, and the Cardinals would take game number 7 and eventually lose in the 1987 World Series to the Minnesota Twins. Danny Cox would go all the way in this game and defeat the Giants in game number 7 of a sold-out packed Busch Stadium. 6-0 would be the final. We're back with more in downtown St. Louis at Busch Stadium 3 in just a moment. It's the Giants and the Cardinals in game number 3 today.
Welcome back inside Busch Stadium. I'm Pat Paris. First pitch coming up in just moments as the Cards and Giants wrap up the first half of the season. Instead of looking around the rest of the majors, we thought we'd look ahead to the second half for the Cards. Here's Jim Hayes.
The Cardinals' World Series high lost altitude in a hurry as the Redbirds struggled through a first half that was disappointing, to say the least. The bad news is that the Cards have a huge hole to dig themselves out of. But there is good news as well. The Cards play in the NL Central, which hasn't exactly turned the baseball world on its ear this season. The Brewers have been the best of the lot, but they've had their struggles, losing 7 out of 8 in one stretch. The Cards believe they can make up the ground.
The Cubs are making a good run at the Brewers right now, and I think whenever the Cubs get up there and they start, battling out up there, I think that might open the door for us to maybe come in the side door, and hopefully pick up a lot of games on them.
The Cards do have history on their side. In 2001, the Cards grabbed the wild card spot after trailing by 8 games at the All-Star break. And in 1964, the Cards won their first NL pennant in 18 years after a sluggish first half that saw them trailing by 10 games at the break. Certainly the Cards can't depend solely on the Brewers and Cubs falling apart at the seams. They have to play better baseball. Scott Rolen will have to snap out of his first half funk, and they need Jim Edmonds to return to form after shutting it down with a pinched nerve.
I'm hoping that everything's going to be fine. It's getting better. It's not as good as I'd like right now, but I think we're just going to wait till after the All-Star break and make sure everything's 100%. And upper body, I feel great. I've been swinging the bat last couple days. I feel good. My arm feels good. And just as soon as my legs get better, then I think I should be good.
To win consistently in the second half, the Cards pitching staff has to do its part. That means a healthy return from the Cards ace, Chris Carpenter, is a must.
Yeah, I remember being in the bullpen last year and, you know, just kind of thinking to myself, all right, we got the day off today when he was pitching. You know, we thought like that every 5 days. So when you got a guy like that, and now that I'm in the rotation, I get to see it. When you have somebody who's portraying excellence all the time, it kind of has the trickle-down effect on the rest of the starters.
The Cardinals believe they have a run in them, but with half the season gone and so much ground to make up, that run has to come soon.
Jim, thank you very much. Albert Pujols and the Cardinals trying to wrap up the first half with a win against the Giants before the All-Star break. He's 1-2 in his career against today's starter, Barry Zito. When we come back, Dan and Al have the call between the Cards and the Giants. Don't forget to stick around afterwards. Rick Hort and I with plenty of post-game reaction on Cardinals Live. Enjoy the game. We'll see you then.
Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. By Auto Tire, the tire pros. For the lowest bottom line price, you ought to go to Auto Tire. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Southwest Airlines, with more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. Visit southwest.com. Cardinals looking to avoid the sweep this afternoon. Sold out once again, and Barry Bonds is in the lineup for San Francisco. Todd Wellemeyer's first pitch is a strike to Dave Roberts. First pitch hit 115 here at Busch Stadium. A Rico starter is Todd Wellemeyer, trying to stay in the starting rotation, a record of 2-1 this season. He's on the mound. The Cardinals usually score a bunch of runs, and it is a Sunday afternoon. Sundays have treated the Cardinals very well offensively. Leadoff hit.
Usually because Albert Pujols has a big day. He's got 8 of his home runs in Sundays.
Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Roberts, Vizquel has moved up to the 2 spot, followed by Durham, and then Bonds, the cleanup man. Plesko, Lewis, Feliz, Rodriguez, and Zito. Omar Vizquel, 5th among active players in hits. 4 for 7 in this series. Average has raised 8 points, up to 238.
He's passed Reese Aparicio, the Hall of Famer for the most hits at shortstop since 1957. They're both from Venezuela, and Omar's idol.
Be interesting to see what the Cardinals will do with Todd Wellemeyer following this start. It's a big one for him, trying to stay in the starting rotation, something that he has grown to like instead of working out of the bullpen.
Well, Dan, I'll give you one real simple explanation, or one telling stat to me. He has made 7 starts. He's 2-1. He's gotten 7 runs in support, but he's only averaged 4 1/3 innings as a starter. Not good enough.
And a guy that has gone deeper into games has been Thompson, who also enjoys starting, and Kip Wells trying to get back in the rotation. And pretty soon you're going to see Carpenter return.
Yeah, right now your problem is you got 6 starters, and it's soon to be 7 starters vying for 5 spots.
Carpenter 3 innings today for Palm Beach, 38 pitches, no runs, 2 hits allowed. And they said his fastball was around 92. Big test is when he wakes up in the morning, making sure he feels all right. 2 balls and 1 strike on Omar Vizquel.
Wellemeyer definitely has a major league arm, but they just have to go deeper into ball games, and it is a work in progress. He has gone 6 innings 1 time. He's gone 5 innings 3 times, but he's had 3 times he's going 3 innings.
The 2-1 is hit out to deep center field. Ludwig, though, backing up. He'll make the catch. Back to first goes Roberts. Defensively, the Cardinals today look like this. Brought to you by Auto Tire. Duncan, Ludwig, and Encarnacion in the outfield. Roland and Ryan on the left side of the infield. A tough 7th inning last night for Miles. He's at second today. Pujols at first, and Gary Bennett is behind the plate. See if Roberts wants to do some running against Gary Bennett this afternoon. Top threats in baseball is Dave Roberts. Ray Durham, the second baseman, looks at a ball. On deck, Bonds. Rare day game for Bonds following a night game in which he will play. With the All-Star break here, Bruce Bochy goes to Bonds before every game just to make sure he feels all right, but he took batting practice, said he was good to go, and he's in the lineup.
He did get a slight breather in the first 2 games of the series, being taken out for defense late in the game. But, you know, you got the All-Star break, but of course Barry's going to be going to his 14th All-Star game, 13th time he is elected by the fans.
2-0 the count on Durham. Roberts a little bigger lead, not going, and the pitch is a strike. 2-1. A lot of pitches have been up in the zone here in the first from Todd Wellemeyer.
Todd just trying to throw strikes, you know, trying to back down a little bit, but not a good formula. But yet a lot of these left-handed batters are all low ball hitters.
That could be a double play ball, but Ryan can't get to it, and out though still at second base is Roberts. Boy, he looked safe, but somehow Ryan was able to get the ball back and flip to Miles.
I think that is Cardinals catch a break there. Eric Cooper, the second base umpire, said there was the force play. And hard hit ball, sure double play with sure hands, but Ryan misconnected, but he stays with it, flips to Miles, and get a better look right here, but no, he's safe, don't you think? Or
pretty close.
Yeah, close enough, but the Cardinals catch a break. And maybe he was out. He was out.
You know, initially, and just watching it live, it looked like he was safe by a mile, but no, this looks like he's out.
And I assumed that he was out, but you know, looking at that replay as I was saying he's safe, then my eyes were saying he is out.
And here is Bonds, who hasn't done much in the series, but he has walked a bunch. 5 times, as a matter of fact. 0 for 3.
A 10-game hitting streak coming into this series.
And Bonds hits it high in the air out to left. Duncan there to make the catch. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first, and there's no score. Live look outside Busch Stadium. Fans still making their way to the ballpark, and there's no score after a half inning. As Bonds flied to left in his first time up to end the top of the first. Southwest Airlines starting lineup: Ryan, Ludwig, and Pujols in the first inning for the Cardinals. Last home run for Albert was against Kansas City back on June 14th. Longest drought of his career. Encarnacion is the cleanup man, followed by Roland and Duncan, then Bennett, Miles, and the pitcher Todd Wellemeyer. In the National League, it's Barry Zito, and his numbers brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
Well, you see the 6-8 record. He really has gotten very little run support, but he usually needs very little. In the 6 games that San Francisco has provided more than 2 runs of support, he's 5-0 with a 1.70 ERA. But his team has lost his last 6 starts, and he personally is 0 for his last 3.
Brendan Ryan is a leadoff man. Cardinals are hoping to get Eckstein back next weekend against the Phillies. He's missed 22 games because of back spasms and leg problems. And David actually is going to stay in St. Louis during the break, take some ground balls and some batting practice.
Had a big workout with Oquendo on Tuesday before they really test him and see how he responds. And then the team will work out on Thursday before they go to Philadelphia.
2 balls and 1 strike. Eckstein said he had no discomfort after fielding drills on Saturday, so that's good news. The 2-1 pitch to Ryan. 3-1. Barry Zito signed for $126 million, and he is 6-8 here in the first half.
It is over 7 years.
So that's how they can justify it, huh? Three and two. One time, many thought that Zito's curveball was the best in baseball. Tap left side, and that is a foul ball.
And I talked to Mark Mulder, who, by the way, threw again today and was encouraged by his outing. But Mulder, I said, what makes him so special? And what he said was, when he really has his great games is when he has a tremendous changeup. He said he usually will have the good curveball, and everybody talks about the slow curveball. But when he has that changeup on top of it, there's a 10 to 12 mile an hour variance from his fastball. He can throw his fastball by you at 86.
Reaches forward, pulls it foul. Looked to be the changeup there. Cardinals were swept at home to start the season by the Mets, and the Giants trying to do it here. Prior to this series, the Cardinals had won 4 of 5, and Ryan hits it out to right for a base hit. 8-pitch at bat for Brendan Ryan turns into a base hit to right. Giants defensively brought to you by Auto Tire. Bonds, Roberts, and Lewis. The outfield, Feliz, Vizquel, Durham, and Klesko on the infield. Guillermo Rodriguez, we saw him late in the ballgame last night, is behind the plate. Barry Zito, 108 wins in his career.
Very dependable, as he leads the majors with 225, now 226 starts since 2001.
Ryan Ludwig in center field today.
See, there's a 84, 85 mile an hour fastball, and he has sort of a natural cut to it.
Two balls and no strikes. Late arrivals here to the ballpark. Very warm afternoon. Our game time temperature 90 degrees. It's expected to get up to the mid 90s. 2-1. Took something off that pitch.
62 miles an hour. So you see from 84, 85 to 62 is the curveball. A real good 12 to 6, but you know, it actually throws his changeup a little faster than his curveball. Get an idea, is pretty hard to adjust to 25 mile an hour variance.
The 3-1 pitch. Ludwig pulls it foul. 3-2. Pujols is waiting on deck.
Barry is 6'4", 208. A lot of times we get a guy that's around that size, the 6'4", they're kind of slow to the plate.
Ludwig hammers it out to left field over Bonds. One hops off the wall. Brendan Ryan on his way to third, and it's a double for Ryan Ludwig. 2 on for Pujols.
Tony Russo was telling you that Zito left-handers have had a little more success against Zito. And there's kind of a hanging breaking ball right up there. And some people say, why not Schumacher? He's swinging the bat real well. But I think it's just the fact that you're so intrigued with Ludwig and his ability to kind of jump on a pitch, hit one out. He's also got 5 consecutive games where he's had at least a double.
It's pretty surprising right there. Ford Key, the 2 home runs allowed to lefties, and also left-handed batters are batting over 300 against Zito.
I think part of it has to do with he has sort of a natural cutter, so that's coming in on the right-handed batters. Now that pitch to a left-hander has a tendency to go out into the sweet part of the bat.
Runners at second and third for Albert Pujols. Reaches for it, and that is a fair ball into right. Ryan will score. They will hold up Ludwig, and Pujols gets the Cardinals on the board here in the first. 3 consecutive hits against Zito to start the game. Nice piece of hitting by Pujols.
Another pitch that was up, and Albert going with the pitch. See it out there? It's outside of the strike zone, but Albert, with that great plate coverage and recognizing the off-speed pitch, just goes out there and puts a level swing on it. Just got over the head of Klesko and drives in the first run of the game, his 52nd RBI.
Talking with the folks from San Francisco, they say that Barry Zito, another reason he is 6-8, he's put a lot of pressure on himself to justify this contract.
It's only human nature. You know, you're given the contract based on what you've done in the past. And so a club just says, be yourself. But then when you get that contract, you try to do too much. Juan's had some success against him. 5 hits, including a home run and 14 at bats.
1 ball, 1 strike. Encarnacion pops it up. Shallow center field. Ryan will go halfway. Pujols tagging up from first. Throw comes in. Pujols on his way to second, but no one's at first base. And he's back safely. Pretty heads-up play here by Pujols.
Well, you know, Albert's always trying to do it. Maybe get in a rundown, maybe he could steal a run. So, you know, certain outfielders, like last night, Freddie Lewis, who's out in right field, throws a rainbow. Albert could get to second base on that type of throw. But here, Robert's a more disciplined outfield, hits the cutoff man. But with Klesko being the cutoff man in there, they have to nobody to cover first base.
1 out, runners at first and third for Scott Rowland.
The interesting thing would have been, as the catcher vacated home plate to go try and cut off at first base, Ludwig come home.
And Rowland pops it up. Into right, that's Fred Lewis. They're going to test him. Play at the plate, throw is offline, and it's 2-0 as Ludwig scores. Rowland with RBI number 38, 2-0 St. Louis.
Good to see that. Lewis, we saw him playing left field. The defense for Bonds made a rainbow. This one is more on the line, but it's up the line. Only chance was to tag Ludwig as he goes by, but the young catcher doesn't have that opportunity. But boy, his throwing arms diminished in the major leagues.
Strike 2, Duncan. Chris is hitting .283, 16 home runs and 44 RBIs. First full season in the major leagues.
Let's watch Jose Oquendo, the third base coach. He's got the runner at third base, Ludwig. So he tells him, okay, you're tagging up and everything. Now he's signaling to Albert Pujols to just kind of go around the bases. He could verbally tell the man at third, and then his attention was totally drawn at the other runner, Pujols at first base, to tell him to keep on going.
Pujols was about halfway to third on that last pitch, and you could see Oquendo just motion to his runner out there. Albert, watch the catcher, he can throw back.
Well, or the pitcher can spin and throw and, you know, get you in a rundown on top of it.
Zito falling behind on just about every hitter. 3-1.
Zito had an odd outing his last time out. You know, where he allowed 3 runs in 5 innings, retired 9 of the first 10 batters faced, and did not allow a hit through 4 innings. However, he walked 5 batters in the 4th inning, accounting for a pair of runs.
On the outside corner, and that's taken for a ball. So 3 hits and a walk here in the first for the Cardinals. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. And here's Gary Bennett.
Boy, I just can't Once again, amazed by your clairvoyance predicting this this game early.
Thank you, Al. Knew the pace would be quick this afternoon. As Gary Bennett lifts it into right center. Taken there by Dave Roberts. Cardinals strike first. RBI by Pujols, his 52nd. Then Rolen made it 2-0. FSN final score coming up later tonight. That will follow Cardinals Weekly. FSN final score at 10:30 with all the highlights from around the major leagues. Stan the Man statue just outside the main entrance of Busch Stadium. Top of the second, 2-0 St. Louis. Ryan Klesko, Fred Lewis, and Pedro Feliz for the Giants. Klesko is hitting .296, 5 home runs and 28 RBIs. Wellemeyer's a guy that can reach back and get it up to 95, 96, but Cardinals would like him to back that off a little bit for better control. A little bit more movement too. Brendan Ryan is there for the first out. This date in baseball history is always brought to you by Schnook. Stan the Man hits 3 home runs in a Cardinals 15-1 thumping of the Mets back in 1962.
Oh, that was the year the Mets came into existence and sent Casey Stengel to an early grave.
There's Fred Lewis playing right field today. Mets would win in late 60s and again in the mid 80s.
Big Devine had been with general manager of the Cardinals and really kind of set the tone for the 67, 68 pennant teams. But he was with the Mets there. You know, he was general manager, kind of led to getting all those players. And then he came back in 69 to the Cardinals and had formulated that 69 pennant winning team, the Miracle Mets. Wasn't with either organization when they won the World Championships, but he really was the architect of them.
Last few years, Bing was still working as a scout.
Sure. Bing gave Whitey Herzog his first job in baseball after playing days.
The 3-1 pitch. 3-2. Lewis is from Mississippi. Played at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Baseball and football player there. His cousin is Matt Lawton, big leaguer.
Yeah.
Attended Southern University in Baton Rouge. Just played baseball there. And was the 66th overall pick back in '02 by San Francisco. Good at bat here.
It's the first San Francisco Giant player to have 2 grand slams in his rookie season. And his first player in Major League history, his first 2 home runs in the big leagues. One was part of a hitting for the cycle and the other a grand slam.
A 3-2 pitch. Fouled back again. All eyes will be on San Francisco. Home run derby tomorrow. They've got actually the futures game going on tonight. All-star game on Tuesday. Wellemeyer with another 3-2 pitch. Another foul ball. Only player rep for the Cardinals will be Albert Pujols, but team will be well represented with Tony La Russa and his staff.
You really think of it, and probably the only other player that really was a tough decision with Tony was probably Jason Isringhausen.
Jason was saying he'd enjoy the time off with that sore hip. Lewis, a 1-out walk, good at bat.
It's not that the hip's sore, but he just realizes that probably the time off would be very beneficial to it. And it's not like you go to get the All-Star game and getting rest either.
Here's Pedro Feliz. Feliz still looking for his first hit in the series. The 0-1 pitch. Out to center field. Ludwig over for out number 2. Cards return home on July 24th. Central Division showdown against the Cubs and the Brewers. And get your tickets now for the important homestand, the Prime C Club. The best way to do it at stlcardinals.com. Long road trip coming up, and we return to Busch Stadium on the 24th. Cubs are in town the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th. And then Milwaukee on the 27th, the 28th, and the 29th. And July 28th is the doubleheader. Makeup date.
Cubbies currently are 4.5 games back in Milwaukee.
Playing some of the best baseball in the league.
They were 7-3 in their last 10 games. Cincinnati has picked it up a little bit. They've won 3 in a row and 6-4 in their last 10. Change of manager is giving a little lift to the Redlegs.
1-1 pitch to Rodriguez. Upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Tony was saying prior to the game that he really likes his all-star team, which is filled with youth. That infield is one of the youngest infields in the history of the all-star game. Reyes and Wright on the left side of the infield, both are 24. You've got Chase Utley, who's 25, and then Prince Fielder, 23.
You know,
and
Tony
the catcher is Martin.
Yeah, Tony put a lot of thought into that, and he'll do everything he can. He's 3-1 in all-star game competition, and he'll do everything he can to bring that home field advantage back to the National League.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Hit to short, Brendan Ryan. Across the diamond, high throw, and the tag is there as Pujols puts it on. A little casual that time by Ryan. The Giants strand their second runner. 2-0 St. Louis. Geico quote from Hank Aaron: "Don't see pitches down the middle anymore, not even in batting practice." Hank Aaron with 755 home runs, Bonds at 751. 2-0 St. Louis, and Barry flied out his first time up today. Miles, Wellemeyer, and Brendan Ryan for the Cardinals. Awfully tough night for Aaron in the 7th with 3 errors. Tony's got him right back in there. His average has dipped to 289. He's 0 for 8 in the series. Natural position is second base, and as you mentioned, Al, some of these guys are playing out of position.
Yeah, he's 0 for his last 15, 0 for 8 in this series, and you know that's one thing when you talk about the defense. You know, and Taguchi, you know, normally is not going to be playing every day. That would be Edmonds' spot out in center field, and Eckstein is your resident shortstop. So you get guys, and the one thing you worry about a little bit with Miles, and it's come at the good time, is he wearing down a little bit, getting so much playing time.
And Miles draws a leadoff walk.
Adam Kenny's starting to swing the bat a little better, and so I think when Eckstein comes back, and hopefully that'll be on Friday after the break, you know, then you can have Miles and Kennedy kind of splitting time there, and you got 3 guys for those 2 middle infield positions to keep everybody fresh.
Wellemeyer 1 for 10. Has to sacrifice here. Gets the bunt down. It's a beauty. Only play is to go to first, and the sacrifice is good. 2-4.
Everything Wellemeyer's doing today is helping his cause. Pedro Feliz coming down the line, so you bunt it to the first base side, deadened it perfectly, and gets Miles into scoring position.
Ryan singled and scored back in the first. Our sonic pitch count for Barry Zito at 34.
Ryan making his 10th start of the year, 7 at short, 3 at second, and he's hit 300 as a starter.
Cardinals feel he's made a favorable impression, but they'd like to see him play every day down in the minor leagues.
Absolutely. Now, he'll be the odd man out when Eckstein comes back, but it's to his betterment to go down and play every day. But you know he can come up here and play.
2 balls, 1 strike.
And every time a guy like Brendan Ryan, or how Schumacher's been up and down the last couple of years, every time they come back up, they feel a little bit more like a big leaguer. Their teammates know who they are, what they can do. Question, will Brendan Ryan hit major league pitching?
I feel he's got good range, can play second, he can play short.
Runs very well, and he's a real hustler. He knows that's a strength.
2-2 pitch. Ryan out to center field, and it's going to drop in for a hit and get past Roberts. Miles will score easily. Ryan on his way to third, and it's 3-0 Cardinals.
Base hit and 2-base error by the center fielder. And we just talked about that speed of Brendan Ryan.
No RBI on the play for Ryan. So a base hit, and then the error allows Ryan to go to third, and then Miles scores.
See, I disagree with the no error, because hits his ball, yeah, he's going to go from second to third, but the way that, you know, Roberts played that ball, even if he stopped it, he had his body shift was back on its heels, and there's no way he's going to be able to throw Miles out if Kendo sent him home, and you know how aggressive Phil Kendo is.
Misplays by the Cardinals defensively in games 1 and 2, and now San Francisco with the error by Roberts allows a run to score. Ludwig pops it up. Rodriguez back towards the screen and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. Brendan Ryan now 2 for 2 on the day. Picks up his 6th RBI. If they change it. Ludwig rips it down the left field line. That's a fair ball. Ryan will score. And Ryan Ludwig on his way to second base. It's 4-0.
Back-to-back doubles for Ludwig. He's now at 21 RBIs. Dave Righetti out to talk to Barry Zito. But here you see him go down and get a pitch, hook it into the corner. The Cardinals not showing a lot of extra base power. You know, That's why you like Brendan Ryan in this lineup. Excuse me, Ludwig in the lineup.
It's 5 hits already against Zito. We're just in the second inning.
How about 5 hits from the first 3 in the order in 5 plate appearances? And now he's got to face Albert. He does have first base open. He wants to be careful.
Pujols with an RBI base hit in the first. Now with 52 runs driven in. A high strike, and Pujols didn't like it.
Mike Riley, the crew chief, back behind the plate.
Pujols was drafted by the Cardinals in 1999. 7 major league seasons, and 6 times he's been an all-star. One and 2.
Albert's got 8 home runs on Sunday, including all 3 of his 2-run home run games this year.
Barry Zito got $126 million. What's Mark Burley going to get once he hits the open market? He's got to be right around there. Essentially the same numbers. One-two pitch. That will find the seats out of play, looks like.
The thing that's amazing about that $126 million contract is how many clubs are willing to go 7 years on a pitcher. Not many. A lot of clubs don't want to go beyond 3.
I think you're crazy if you do.
History will prove that you probably are.
One-two pitch. 2-2. Pujols not voted in as a starter, and that gives you an idea of the kind of year Prince Fielder has had when he beats out Pujols, Ryan Howard, Derek Lee. Fielder with 2 more home runs last night. Pujols strikes out.
85-mile-an-hour fastball, but because of the soft speeds of his curveball and slide and changeup, he can throw a fastball, but of course he threw that up in his eyes, and that's tough to get on top of. Albert is great at getting on top of a pitch up, but didn't this time.
Encarnacion flied out. Shallow center, first time up. 2 outs and a runner at second. That's Ludwig. 4-0 St. Louis. Breaking ball in there for a strike. But even that one's not the big 12-6 that he's got. Time called. Cardinals picked up 2 runs in the first and 2 more here in the second.
Remember when he went to, after he signed the contract and getting ready for spring training, and all of a sudden an article came out and said he was changing his mechanics? I mean, that had to send cringes through the Giant organization.
A little better breaking ball that time. Makes you wonder, why would you do that?
Well, that's
had
what I'm
success.
saying. You know, we just rewarded you with this huge contract based on what you've done, and now you're going to change something? We liked you the way you were.
Works from the third base side of the rubber. The 1-2 pitch. And the curveball that's in the dirt. 2-2.
He was 16-10 last year with a 3.83 ERA, 221 innings. In his career, he is 108-71 with 3.62 ERA. Over 1,500 1,531 innings pitched, 1,320 hits.
2-2. Held on to by Rodriguez. Encarnacion strikes out. Cardinals pick up 2. 4-0. A look at the statue of Enos Slaughter just outside the ballpark. It's 4-0. Tonight, the world's best players will once again gather to finally answer the question, who is the greatest poker player in the world? Find out on the Poker Superstars 3. That's tonight at 8, only on FSN Midwest. Cardinals lead it on this Sunday afternoon, 4-0. A ball by Todd Wellemeyer to start the third, and this is Barry Zito. How are you going to spend your break, Mr. Raboski?
I just lucked out. I found I'm not going to Martha's Vineyard.
You're staying home.
Staying home. My bride has been there for the last 3 or 4 days. I was supposed to join her tomorrow, and she decided she's coming home, and I'm very happy about it.
Must be tough. You want to stay at home or go to Martha's Vineyard? These decisions you have, Al, I mean, it's tough.
I actually brought the suitcase and everything to drop off because I was going to go straight to Philadelphia, and here's a walk to Zito. I just wanted to stay home so I could babysit Luke.
Here we go. A sonic pitch count for Wellemeyer, 36 pitches thus far, and he's walked 2 first time through this lineup, and one of those, Barry Zito. Play behind Zito at first, and this is Roberts. Well, you are asking for trouble when you walk a leadoff man with a 4-run lead, and that leadoff man is the pitcher.
Yeah, it just. But that's kind of always been the MO of Wellemeyer, that, you know, he got this great arm, but at any time he could get wild.
No balls and 2 strikes. Barry Zito is 89-4 when he gets at least 4 runs of support. How about that?
I told you this year he's 5-0, you know, 1.7 ERA when he gets 2 runs or more, you know, more than 2 runs.
A lot of times that is true with most pitchers, but that record stands out at 89-4.
And you know, remember when Mulder came over from Oakland, a team that doesn't score a lot of runs, and based on their pitching and defense, you know, he had a similar type numbers. That's good discipline for a pitcher. You know, don't expect to get a lot of run support, and then learn how to pitch that you don't need it.
Roberts pops it up. Brendan Ryan there, and he'll lose it in the sun, and they have a force play at second. Fielder's choice, 6-4.
That's the pose right there, says it all. As Tony kind of is better go get some sunglasses, Brendan. Now Albert will bring him out some. I mean, you know, common sense, you lose a ball in the sun, you better rectify it right away. Kendo. See him just fighting the sun, but you know, an outfielder, and they're having H webbing. See Tony, where's your sunglasses? Just common sense. It's almost like, you know, take your glove now, take your sunglasses, and then you put them on top. All right, that makes sense. Holy smokes. Now that explains it, you know. Oh, now you figured it out. Oh, he got the wrong one, so I don't need them. They look better up there. You know what, Brendan, just put them on.
Please.
Cover yourself.
Vizquel hits it out to center field, and Ludwig is there.
He's got sunglasses. I mean, we had 2 of them last week in the outfield.
Al, what if Ray Durham just pops one up to short here?
Well, it might be the we've been basically playing with a 24-man roster when Spezio was hospitalized. We might be playing, he is back now, but we'd be playing with 24 because first time you send a guy down during the All-Star break.
A liner and over Ryan. Almost got it. And Durham is aboard, and it's runners at first and third, and now it's Bonds. And Bonds could get the Giants right back in it with one swing of the bat.
Running fastball out there, line drive just beyond the reach. Brendan Ryan, you know, the pop-up didn't change the scoring because he got the force out there, but he attacked that pitcher who Wellemeyer walked. You know, you might have been out of this inning instead of in a 4-0 game coming facing Bonds with 2 men on. Wellemeyer had never faced him before he got him out in the first inning on a pop-up to left.
Special baseballs used for the Bonds ABs. And he is sitting on 751. And Bonds hits it out of play and foul for strike 1.
Barry this year hitting .321 against right-handed pitchers. Here you see with 2 outs, runners in scoring position, still scary numbers. Just 4 for 11, not a real big test, but it's .364 average.
Shift is on for Barry with Brendan Ryan behind second base. Miles is out in the outfield grass. Good 10 yards out there. The 0-1 pitch. Hit out of play again. Wellemeyer going right at him.
Well, that's what you really want to see. You know, Todd Wellemeyer, a guy who's been released a couple times, but in this day, in this matchup, he has a chance to, for this moment, see if he's better than one of the absolute best of all time.
Bonds is yet to homer at this ballpark. He is 1 for 10.
Ludwig was trying to get back to sit in the first row.
0-2 pitch to Barry Bonds is outside.
Took a little off that one.
5 current Cardinals have been victimized by long ball off the bat of Barry Bonds. Kip Wells, Carpenter, Franklin, Izzy, Springer.
How about Major League record? 442 different pitchers have served one up.
2-2.
One or more against Barry. 7-time MVP, including 4 consecutive.
Look at the runner at third. Because of Scott Rowland, I mean, he could get halfway down the line and not even worry about it. Rowland part of that shift, and he's basically where the shortstop would be. The infield drawn in. Bonds, a swing and a miss, and he strikes out. Barry is 0 for 2, and the Giants strand 2. 4-0 St. Louis. Todd Wellemeyer with a strikeout of Bonds to end the top of the third. Hardy's hot pitch, strikeout of Barry.
Just threw the fastball by him. And still hitless in this series.
The thing that was interesting about that swing and miss is that you don't see him expand his zone very often. Same with Pujols. Pujols has done it more this year than we've seen in the past, but you know, Bonds is very good at that. There's a liner that's taken by Pedro Feliz off the bat of Scott Rowland. Duncan walked his first time up. 4-0 St. Louis.
Note in the newspaper today about Shelley Duncan, close to being called up.
It's with the Yankees, and apparently he is strictly a hitter.
Yeah, DH type, and they need help at first base. I guess he's second in home runs in the league, and is he leading in on-base percentage and slugging percentage?
1 ball, 1 strike on Chris. Another breaking ball that misses outside, 2-1. So Dave could have a couple of sons playing in the major leagues. Two-one pitch. Duncan hits it out to center, and Roberts is there for the catch. First 2 have been retired. You can email us. Email us here in the booth. What's the address, Al? I know you're always checking.
There it is right there.
All right, log on to foxsports.com, and it's on MSN, the keyword Cardinals booth. Sunday afternoon. We don't normally get to do the Sunday afternoon games, Al, but lo and behold, we get offense.
Oh, I think we ought to, first question we ought to pose out there is, how many people think I should be able to babysit Luke?
You can email all you want, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, those are the ones you don't show me.
Well, I told you, Al, that I don't want you babysitting Luke, and young lady that you must have met on an elevator here at the ballpark with her 7-year-old daughter was very upset with me. Scathing email about how nice you are to children. And I know you're good with kids, and I'm just trying to give you trouble.
I know. She thought you were serious, which you are.
You're not touching Luke. You're not holding hands. You're not holding him. You're not doing anything.
Does Luke have a Mad Hungarian t-shirt?
He does. It was he was wearing that the other day, actually.
That's when he was being bad.
Actually, it was. We had him in timeout. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss as Bennett strikes out. Cardinals go 1-2-3. We head to the 4th. It's 4-0 St. Louis. Four to nothing St. Louis as we move to the top of the 4th here at Busch Stadium on a Sunday afternoon. Typical St. Louis summer day. It is hot. Foul ball off the bat of Klesko. I wonder if he is dealing with some type of foot problem, because he's been trying to stretch that out, or his calf, even when he's been in the field.
Well, you see he's got the shin guard, and it's up around the calf area. Now last year he only had, it was just very few games, 6 games with San Diego, and he was 3 for 4 in those 6 games, out all year with a shoulder injury.
Lines that one out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Whatever happened to Mike Lincoln?
Oh, Mike Lincoln, boy, he's kind of like a Josh Kinney, but Mike Lincoln hurt that elbow after he kind of really established himself as, looked like he was going to be a real special guy, and there's another punch out.
It's 2 strikeouts for Todd Wellemeyer. Klesko having words with the home plate umpire, and they're getting after it pretty good.
And I think Mike was back in Tennessee.
Party rooms are ideal here at the ballpark for entertaining clients and employees or friends. One great price includes beer, soda, snacks, and a great view of the game. Party rooms are on sale now, and premium dates are still available. For more information, visit stlcardinals.com or 345-9500. First pitch inside to Fred Lewis. Lewis walked his first time up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Home Run Derby will be tomorrow in San Francisco, and there's some rumblings that Albert Pujols may be added to the Derby. And I know some folks look at that as not being a positive because Pujols has been dealing with what Tony La Russa calls the ouchies. Maybe give him that time off on Monday night. Maybe just a plate appearance or two in the game on Tuesday.
Mike Matheny is still listed in the statistics, Major League standings and the statistics that are provided through Major League Baseball. And Mike was at the ballpark today. His former teammates, you can say both of them, the Cardinals and the Giants, but the Giants presented him with a jersey, as now Matt Morris is wearing Mike Matheny's old number as a tribute to Mike. So, Matty Moe switched from his 35 that he wore here to the 22, the number of Matheny, and all his former teammates signed it, including Willie Mays. And he was over in the Cardinal clubhouse saying hello to some of the guys. Wish Mike and his family nothing but the best. What a class act, and somewhere he'll be back with someplace in baseball, and he'll be an excellent instructor.
3-2 pitch.
Not manager, broadcaster, or anything else you want to include.
Fred Lewis has had some good at bats already.
Hey Dan, it's
in this series.
Beautiful day, and it's really sunny out.
You're right, Al, and that means maybe the sunglasses is what you're saying.
Well, it could be a possibility. We're wearing them watching the game. Oh.
Cardinals return to action on FSN Midwest. That will be Friday after the All-Star break. 10-game stretch out east. First up, Ryan Howard and the Phillies. Coverage begins at 5 o'clock with our 1-hour Cardinals live pregame programming. Cardinals and Phillies Friday at 5.
This will be the first time we've seen that ballpark in warm weather. We've always been there in April.
You're right.
And we've seen 6 home run games in cold weather. What's it going to be like? It's worse than the Great American Ballpark in Cincy.
In the air out to left, Chris Duncan is there for the second out. Back to first goes Lewis, and it brings in Guillermo Rodriguez.
10 World Championships, the most in the National League, and second only to New York's 26.
Just joined us, Barry Bonds is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. He's also flied out to left. And the Cardinals picked up 2 runs in the first and 2 more in the second. They lead it 4-0.
Rodriguez, first time in 12 years playing at the Major League level.
Down the right field line, it is slicing and foul. One ball, one strike with 2 outs and a runner at first. Rodriguez first time up, grounded out to short. All right, Mr. Rybowski, first half is coming to a close. Who's your National League MVP? To me, it's got to be Fielder.
Yeah, he would be the first one that comes to mind. Good young ball club.
Popped up. Who wants it? It's going to be Albert. He'll take it for the third and final out. Midway through 4, it's 4-0 St. Louis. Miles Wellemeyer and Ryan coming up. Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. Kia, the power to surprise. By Rico, move your ideas with Rico dependability. And by Aflac, ask about it at work. Sunday afternoon in St. Louis. Glad to have you with us here on FSN Midwest.
A couple other guys you could think about would be Matt Holliday and Derek Lee.
Before it's all said and done, it looks like the Cubs are going to be right in the thick of things in the Central, doesn't it?
I think they are.
You and I both felt that way from the beginning of the season as Miles singles to start the bottom of the fourth. Sunday, August 12th, the Redbirds play the Dodgers, and the first 10,000 kids ages 12 and under receive a Cardinals World Series bear courtesy of the Build-A-Bear Workshop. For tickets or more information, go to stlcardinals.com or 345-9000.
Utley's having another special year.
Wellemeyer sacrificed his first time up. Sam writes in, he says, don't forget about Matt Holliday.
See, I just said he's leading the league in hitting. He's second in RBIs with 69 to Carlos Lee's 72. Leads with 36 multi-hit games. Leads the league in hits at 122. Total bases 205. So absolutely.
A lot of people have written in, Al, and they are concerned about Pujols being in the home run derby because they think bad habits can develop.
Absolutely, and I think Major League Baseball sometimes puts you in a tough spot. You know, it's kind of a glamorous situation that you can get hurt. Really, nothing positive really can happen.
Wellemeyer gets the sacrifice down. The bunt is down, and advancing on the play is Miles. Last time they did that, Miles would come around to score. Al, it's time for you to tell the straight.
Hope it works. You see where Pedro Feliz is playing in the third baseman. And so you got a lot of side on the right side where he bunted the first time. But he bunts this one down, he deadens it enough, and then you see the third baseman has to wait for Durham, the second baseman, to get to the bag. So he hesitates here, takes an extra crow hop. Now Durham's right there, catches it, steps on. So two good sacrifices by Wellemeyer. He had only one this year and two in his career. So today he just doubled his career output.
Lifted to left, Bonds is over and makes the catch. There's two outs. You don't see as many McGuire jerseys as you once did.
No, but that young lady right there is very proud to display hers.
She's in the shade. She's real happy about that too.
But she's got sunglasses on too.
Yeah.
You never know. You have to be prepared.
Here's Ludwig with two outs. You just won't let the sunglasses thing go, Al.
I mean, it's just real simple.
Wear them, right?
We're wearing them in the booth. I mean, take them out there with you. If you want to put them on your bill of your cap, go ahead.
Ludwig gets underneath it. And Bonds is over along with Roberts. And Roberts takes it, the center fielder. We have played four, and it's 4-0 Cardinals. The Aflac trivia question this afternoon. What was the original nickname of the New York Giants?
Aflac.
Gothams.
1883 to 1885. First pitch to Barry Zito to start the fifth is a ball from Todd Wellemeyer. Zito walked his first time up. Wellemeyer has walked 3 on the afternoon.
What a strong performance by Todd. On a day it's supposed to get to 96 degrees.
Al, it feels great. It's warm. It's beautiful. The sun is out, as you have noted.
Yep.
Feels outstanding. There's different kinds of hats you can wear when you come to the ballpark. There you go. You want to tell us straight, Al?
That's kind of down under. There's a alternate hat. Alternate Sundays hat. They originally called it.
A grounder hit to Albert Pujols for the first out. All different kinds of hats.
About the marketing now of apparel, all different types, and different ways. I wish the ladies would wear more hats.
That guy didn't fit into the sequence of guys with hats.
See, there. Floppies. No Brockabrellas.
One out, and here's Dave Roberts. This is why you want to email the booth, Al, because Jeff Draves saw Chris Carpenter pitch today in Vieira. He said he looked strong through 3 innings. Threw some sharp-looking curveballs, he said. Gave up 2 hits and no runs. So we have an expert that emails us, and he says he's coming up to watch the Cardinals in August.
Good.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, hopefully by that time the Cardinals will be making their move. Now really, if they can get to 5 games, obviously you want to be much closer or even be 5 games up. But if they can get 5 games out going to September, most baseball people will take their chance. If you're back playing in your division, you have a couple series against the club that you're chasing.
Determination has to be made too if you're buyer or sellers.
Well, I just, once again, I think the mentality of the Cardinals is they're always going to be buyers.
3-1 pitch to Roberts.
You go back to the Langford-Woody Williams trade. That was actually done after the trade deadline. So you needed waivers on both players. It was done, like I believe, on August 2nd. And Cardinals were in a position where they kind of felt like they were making that move for next year, and yet it turned out to be a positive throughout Woody's career, and also the Cardinals got into postseason play that season when it looked like they would not.
Wellemeyer, his 4th walk. He's at 74 pitches, and when you take a look at who he's in competition with, Thompson and Wells, to try to get a stay in the rotation, Todd Wellemeyer just doesn't go deep into games.
Well, as I said, 4 1/3 is his average through his first 7 starts. He's at 4 1/3 right now. It's not a lot of run. He's only allowed 2 hits, but the 4 walks gives the Giants hope. And every inning they've had at least 1 runner stranded. They've stranded 5 and have 1 sitting out at first base right now.
Email from Shane in Redbud, Illinois. When Ankiel is called up, where do you see him playing? And that's a good question. He can play all 3 outfield spots, and currently at Memphis he's playing center. And I think the other question too is, Al, if he is with the team next year and makes the club, is he an everyday player?
Well, those are yet to be determined, and really what he needs to do is to get 4 at-bats every day at the AAA level. And he does come up here, and it'll probably be in September or a day or 2 before. If you
Popped up, Brendan Ryan. Uh-oh, no sunglasses, and makes the catch. Glasses on the top of his cap.
But that's okay, because there is a little cloud cover that's taken over the stadium right now. But at least he has them. But you see Oquendo going. You know what? It's amazing. Oquendo knows how to see. He's checking it pitch by pitch. Everybody else seems to know how to wear those sunglasses, but Brendan he's 1 for 2 today.
So you're saying it's all right?
Well, he's 1 for 2, but there is a little more cloud cover. It's not as sunny it was, and you saw him at least checking to see if he needed to wear them.
Here goes the runner. A chance for Bennett. Throw down to second. Not in time. Stolen base for Dave Roberts.
Good throw by Bennett, but that was once again Wellemeyer slow to the plate, and Roberts takes advantage, doing his 17th base. That's the most ever in San Francisco franchise before the All-Star break. Okay, he gets banged up a little bit. I don't know if he slides right into the shin of Brendan Ryan, and he still kind of says he's okay, but feeling the effects of that headfirst slide into the shin of the Cardinal shortstop.
Dave Roberts, a major reason why the Red Sox won the World Series. His speed against the Yankees to get him there.
Yeah. But, you know, Ankiel needs to, you know, swing the bat. It was a couple of years ago when he decided to become a hitter, and remember he lost 1 year basically to the knee surgery. So from 18 to 25, he's only had a couple hundred at bats. He needs 500 this year. He did hit his 26th home run last night.
Another pop up. Foul territory. Scott Rowland is there. Makes the catch. Cardinals have Pujols, Encarnacion, and Rowland coming up. Big number 5 leads it off when we come back. It's 4-0 St. Louis. Four to nothing St. Louis in the bottom of the 5th. Pujols is 1 for 2 with an RBI, his 52nd run driven in this year. He's back in the 1st. Barry Zito has struck out 3. The 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. Three and 1. And that's ball 4. Zito has walked 3. What's on tap is brought to you by Bud Light. All-Star game is on Tuesday, and then we return to action Friday at 5. Hour-long pregame show at 5 o'clock. Cardinals and the Phillies in game 1 of a 3-game series. Get an email from Jacqueline. She would like to have Mike Matheny interviewed, but we don't know where the cat is, so trying to track him down.
We don't know if Mike has stayed around either.
Well, we'd like to get that report from Jim Hayes. I'm sure. Working hard. Shallow left center field, and it drops in for a hit. That is terrible.
Oh, that's terrible on Roberts' part.
Wow.
Center fielder. Great for Juan Encarnacion. That is, well, you're talking about 80, 90 feet out in the outfield for Vizquel.
How deep is he playing?
Well, look, but where's the shortstop? Look at, I mean, excuse me, not the shortstop. The center fielder pulls up. So tough for the shortstop to go over and make an over-shoulder catch. He's one of the best in the business, but the center fielder is supposed to take charge, come in on that ball. He gave up on it way too soon. What is going on in this field?
Lots of errors and misplays. Here's Scott Rowland, looks at a ball outside. First 2 have reached. A blue pit and a walk. Two and nothing.
Scotty had the sac fly today, and then he lined hard to the low line drive to his counterpart. Singled, walked twice, and scored twice last night. An RBI double Wednesday night against Arizona for his 4th game-winning RBI of the season. Got to get Scotty being a real threat in the middle of this lineup. Get Edmonds back. Same thing. Just get this team gelling in the right direction.
First and second, nobody out. And Roland looks at another ball that's 3-0. Bullpen now active for San Francisco.
Atchison. Scott Atchison pitched last night, warming up.
The 3-1 pitch. Outside, bases loaded. 2 walks in the inning. And 4 in the game allowed by Barry Zito.
Last start, Zito walked 5 in the 5th inning. So the bullpen is warming up quickly. Getty out to talk to him. Dave was an outstanding pitcher. 2 different careers, one as a starter and one as a closer.
Email from Huntington Beach, California. This is Walt Reichert. He wants to know about the second half, what aspect the Cardinals needs to improve. And I guess, Al, the first things that the Cardinals would want to address is just trying to settle the pitching staff down. The 5 that you're going to have night in and night out. Get that settled.
You could say almost every aspect of the Cardinals except possibly the relief pitching.
Yeah, the bullpen's been very good.
Bullpen's been fine, anchored by Izzy. But, you know, situational hitting, just right on down the line. But I agree with you, starting pitching, biggest need. And whether figure out what your 5 guys are. And let everybody kind of settle in the roles. And kind of with Wells being in the bullpen right now, you've got 6 guys competing for the 5 spots, and Carpenter will be back probably towards the end of the month.
Duncan hits it down the right field line. It is fair. 1 hops off the wall. 2 runs are going to score. They're going to hold up Scott Rowland, and Duncan makes it 6-0 St. Louis. And that might be it for Barry Zito.
46 RBIs. He is only 6 RBIs away from Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Not a pop in the bat, gets a breaking ball from the lefty, and you see him hook it down in the right field corner. Bases loaded, scores 2.
And he's done this, Sal, with basically, not playing against left-handed pitching for the most part.
Zito goes 4+ innings, knocked out.
Tell you about the change when we come back. It's all St. Louis here in game 3. The bases loaded. Duncan drives in 2. It's 6-0. Gary Bennett. Runners at second and third. Remind you about the All-Star game on Tuesday. 7 o'clock locally. This one counts. The All-Star game on Fox. Bennett, a little tapper that's foul. 6-0 Cardinals. 8 hits against Barry Zito. Scott Atchison, 3rd appearance. Our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. 9th professional season in the Giants organization.
Just called up on Wednesday from AAA Fresno. Having a good year down there. 2-2, 4 saves, 2.11 ERA. Opponents were only batting .206 against him. And been in the big leagues since '05 with Seattle.
Grounder hit to short, and a runner's caught up. That's going to be Duncan. He's tagged out. First and third with one out. Infield drawn in, and Vizquel just tags out Duncan.
See right here that takes out, but he doesn't watch the runner in front of him is not going on contact. So Scott Rowland stayed at third base, and Vizquel just closes the gap, tags him out. So Atchin gets the first out in the 5th inning, first and third.
One out, first and third for Miles. I think there's a little cause of concern right now with that contract, and after watching what Barry Zito has done here in the first half.
Well, over and done with now. You know, I even had one general manager say after I signed a guy his first big contract, that first year I just throw it away. I couldn't believe he said that, but he did.
You think back to a few years ago, Hudson, Zito, Mulder, all three were considered the best in baseball.
Well, you know, and Oakland won, a low revenue team couldn't afford to keep a lot of their guys.
Miles hits into a double play. Klesko the catch and saves at least a run. 3 unassisted, double play. We played 5. It's all St. Louis. It's 6-0. Barry Bonds will lead it off here in the top of the 6th. And a new pitcher is Troy Cape. Today during batting practice, Bonds was drilling the baseball out of the ballpark. A bunch of fans had gathered in right field to get some of those souvenirs off the bat of Barry Bonds. In this ball game today, Bonds is 0 for 2. You and I both talked about it. Barry Bonds was wearing a San Francisco t-shirt and not in uniform, and I'm not sure if that's a violation of Major League Baseball dress code.
To my understanding, once the gates are open, that you have to at least, you know, not necessarily your jersey, but a lot of one of the sanctioned pregame tops. A lot of guys don't wear the uniform tops, but they'll wear a sort of a sweat jacket or.
A shift on for Barry Bonds, and he looks at a ball. Bonds is fly to left. He also struck out Troy Cate, his 10th appearance. He's done a good job as the Cardinals still await Tyler Johnson to come back. Chevrolet called to the bullpen. The 1-0 pitch to Bonds.
Talked to Tyler today, and I asked him if he'd been throwing, and he said, yeah, he threw the other day, and he said, I might have thrown a little too much. I'm a little stiff, but a lot of people, or the intent is that they think he will be back maybe sometime during the road trip.
Popped up. Brendan Ryan, also Duncan there, and Bonds is 0 for 3. Let's go pitch by pitch. Brought to you by Chevrolet. Bonds 0 for 3 today.
0 for the series, and see a fastball on the outside part of the plate. Back out there missing again. And then he just gets underneath this one. You see the frustration as Cardinals went right after him. Can't accuse. He has not walked today. That was the theme in the first 2 games, but they have attacked him, and he's 0 for 3.
A little surprised that Wellemeyer was taken out of this game. 5 innings
too.
And just 2 hits allowed.
Yeah, it was 80 some pitches, but you know, once again, I mean, he gave up no runs on 2 hits, but you know, if you're trying to stretch him out, stretch him out.
One out, and here's Klesko with a base hit up the middle.
Maybe they made their decision.
Wonder if that's the last time we'll see Barry Bonds here in St. Louis.
I do not believe so.
I think he'll come back and play. I'm not so sure the Giants want him back after he breaks this record. And who's to say that once he breaks it, they wouldn't try to trade him this year to a contending team?
Possibility, because you know what the Giants are trying to do, and they're an older team. You know, so until you really start your plans of how you're going to rebuild this team into a contender, is you kind of have to solve the Bonds dilemma.
It's past Pujols, but foul. If it took them this long to sign him this last offseason, it gives you an indication, Al, that maybe they don't want him. And enough's enough.
Or, you know, the whole package. You know, one is a very, very costly player. Plus, you know, that, you know, this year he's been healthy. That was probably the issue, too, is, you know, he hadn't been healthy to where he could play in the outfield on a consistent basis or at major league standards. And you got to remember, one time, and I remember talking to Barry about how he really felt that he could change the complexion of a game just as a defensive player playing left field. I never heard anybody say that before, but he intimidated people with his defense.
7-time MVP. He'll be a 14-time All-Star next week. This Tuesday. Voted in by the fans.
Can hit.
Oh, sure he can. Leads your team in home runs, RBIs. On-base percentage is over 500. He's had a great year already. Base hit to right.
Percival is warming up and close to coming into this game. The reason to bring in Troy Cate here in the 6th inning is they feel that he is the type of guy that can pitch a couple innings. There you see Freddie Lewis go out and hook a ball down and take it, and then hook it through the right side, and that pitching change is about to be made right now.
So Cate got Bonds, and then back-to-back singles by Klesko and Lewis, and that's going to be it, looks like, for Troy Cate. Percival coming in. Cardinals lead this one 6-0 here in the 6th inning. Back with more on FSM Midwest in just a moment. Cardinal Baseball on FSM Midwest is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Try the new sirloin burger, 100% sirloin, your choice of cheese and onions, only at Jack in the Box. By your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers. And by U.S. Cellular, we connect with you. Troy Percival into the ball game. It's 6-0. Cardinals on top. Runners at first and second.
Last time Troy worked was Friday. His longest outing since April 22nd of '05. He went 2 scoreless innings. 22nd time he's in his career he's worked 2 innings or more. And that career is spanning 610 games now.
First pitch is hammered down the left field line, but pulled foul. This is Pedro Feliz.
He's been slumping of late. Pedro paying 115 over his last 15 games.
Giants start play today, 10.5 games out. Breaking ball and a strike. West is a tight race because Colorado's still in it. Game over 500, 5.5 games out. Then you have Arizona 3.5 back. Dodgers 2, San Diego 49-37. They lead the division.
Pirates defeated the Cubs 6-2 today. And Washington, the Nationals, are leading 7-2 with Milwaukee batting in the 8th. So win this one, get back to 7.5 games out.
Boy, what did Bruce Bochy do to deserve to be out of San Diego? He won a bunch. Did a good job. Scott Rowland will step on the bag, throws to first, double play. One Gold Glover to the other. Rowland to Pujols, double play. 6-0 St. Louis. FSM Midwest is proud to present the 2007 Albert Pujols Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting the Pujols Family Foundation. 5th annual tournament will feature local sports celebrities all hitting the green to raise money for Pujols Foundation. And this special edition airs Thursday night at 7 right here on FSN Midwest.
Schumacher's going to pinch hit. He's been very successful of late. 3 for 3 in that department. His 6 pinch hits on the year, now tied for the team lead.
He's got hits in 7 of his last 8 at-bats. Homered here last night. First pitch, a breaking ball and a strike as we start play here in the bottom of the 6th.
So good job by Troy Percival. He's saves Troy Kate. Atchison in his 2nd inning of work.
It's a fair ball. Klesko is there, a race to the bag, and steps on first for the first out. So, Al, you're not going to Martha's Vineyard, so you'll be able to tune in at 7 o'clock to watch yourself the Pujols golf tournament.
If I so choose, I might, you know, just TiVo it.
You know how to TiVo?
No.
The girls do.
Gotta have it.
So I guess you won't be TiVoing it.
No,
unless you're going over to the neighbors.
I do the old-fashioned way. You know, you just.
How are you with the neighbors? Are you nice to them? You guys talk much?
Yes. Yes, it's.
Klesko backs up. Atchison at first, and Ryan retired.
I wasn't home. I wasn't home on the 4th of July to hear about my fireworks display. So I didn't get that phone call this year. And I did stop and talk to one of my neighbors today and said, did you find your dog? Because on the 4th of July, they had a new puppy, and the puppy kind of ran away and thought it was a war zone with all the fireworks going. And they were very happily said, yes, the dog returned home 15 hours later.
It's a nice story, Al.
Yeah, so I was very pleased.
I remember a couple of years ago when your daughter was looking for her dog.
That's right. See, that's why I was so preoccupied.
You were emotional over that whole deal.
Oh,
and so was your daughter.
Trust me.
We talked about half the game. We had the entire community statewide search for Al's dog.
And we never found Leo.
Oh.
No, he had a chip and everything. Nicky called every vet in the bi-state area, and nobody ever turned him in. We never found anything. But I've been babysitting Oliver. So see, I've been getting Luke experience for Luke. Oliver is her new dog, because she was at Martha's Vineyard with Mom.
Okay. 2-2 pitch. Ludwig with a base hit to left.
3 hits for Ryan Ludwig. And we talk about Albert Pujols and his 8 home runs on Sundays. Remember that great game that Ludwig had out in Oakland, where he got the game-winning bomb, but had 5 RBIs and 4 hits, another golf shot. Ryan was telling me today, he said, remember the ball he hit last night? He said there's 2 times he thought he just absolutely crushed balls, thought they'd be about 10 feet into the stands, and they fell short.
He was about a foot away from tying that game up last night.
Yeah. So it was a double off the wall, but it wasn't what he thought it was going to be about 10 rows deep into the stands. Albert could do that right now, couldn't he? Just for his own sake, just to get the monkey off his back, the longest home run drought in his career.
Brought up the point too that Pujols does not have a extra base hit here in the month of July, but yet his average is at 311. A lot of singles, a lot of hits. Pujols reaches for it, grounds to Pedro Feliz, force play at second, and we head to the 7th. 6-0 St. Louis. Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinic, Collinsville, Illinois, on the 17th and 19th of July. And the number to call to find out more, 345-9891 or stlcardinals.com. It's presented by Bank of America. Schumacher stays in the game and takes over in center field.
Tony, with this being the last game before the 4-day break for the All-Star break, probably almost wants to get every one of his relievers into this game. Now he could use every one of them and still would have Spezio to kind of close it out if things got out of control.
Spezio a perfect inning, Al, in Oakland.
Yeah, so one perfect. He walked the guy. It was a
0
scoreless.
ERA.
It was scoreless, 0 ERA. Cardinals used 22 pitchers this year.
Big Cardinal fan Seth Kasich is watching our ball game on FSM Midwest, and he just celebrated his 6th birthday. Happy birthday to Seth.
Cool. And Ryan Franklin just celebrated signing a two-year contract with a club option for a 3rd to stay with the Redbirds. Done a great job and deserves it.
Out to center. Schumacher, with the glasses on, makes the catch for the first out. Franklin had the idea that he might be a starter this year and signed with the Cardinals. Had some other offers on the table, but has moved into this setup role. There's even been talk that he could close games out if need be.
Sure, and then you also have Percival. You know, say like if you get into a winning streak and Izzy goes 3 or 4 days, you want to give him a day off. Got a couple options now that feel comfortable. Here's Mark Sweeney, who is the best active pinch hitter in the game today, and 1 hit away from tying Manny Mota for 2nd place in the all-time list.
Lenny Harris is the all-time pinch hit leader.
His next hit will be 150 as a pinch hitter. He's got 15 career pinch hit home runs. That's most active.
Picked up an RBI in game 1 of this series the other night. Fly ball to right. 2 outs. Sweeney, one of the real good guys in the game of baseball.
Yeah.
Very personable, always good with the media.
I hope for the truck's sake he was a Tom Pagnozzi impersonator last night.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Inside to Dave Roberts, 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike. Roberts today has singled, walked, and grounded out. Out to deep right center field. Schumacher, Encarnacion. It's going to be Skip. Time to stretch. All St. Louis here in game 3.
Millie Hancock is today's merchandise winner in the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Millie Hancock qualifies for a Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Kevin Correa, appearing for a 35th time. He has 1 win and 5 decisions, ERA under 4, and he will face Encarnacion, Roland, and Duncan. First pitch is a strike to Juan, who is 1 for 3 on the day. He has also run scored his last time up. Swings at the 2nd pitch. He's down 0-2.
Al, the Cardinals have an 8-5 record on Sundays this year. They've scored 86 runs.
Remember at one time they had scored, and this was almost like 4 to 5 weeks into the season, they had scored the same amount of runs on Sunday as they had the rest of the week.
The 0-2 pitch. Shallow center. Roberts dives for it, can't come up with it. Encarnacion on his way to second with a leadoff double.
Stand-up double. That will endear yourself to the Cardinal fans, hustling like that.
Couple of hits for Juan.
Roberts, noted as an outstanding defensive player, but got to come in. You see a batter up off balance like that, hit it off the end of the bat, must be playing awfully deep. Dives forward, gets by him, but allows one an extra base. When a pitcher makes a good pitch like that, you like to be rewarded, and he wasn't.
Fastball and a strike. Up the middle, that's a base hit off the bat of Roland. Encarnacion held up at third. First and third, and nobody out.
See him out here, the ball's going to be hit behind him. And he didn't know where the shortstop was. Or he should have just taken off immediately with that ball, knowing the shortstop was over his right shoulder and the ball's to, well up the middle on his left side.
Duncan with a base hit to right. And another RBI. Big day for Chris Duncan. 3 RBIs, a double, a single, and a walk.
47 RBIs for him right now. Rigetti now to trot out to the mound, but pitch down away. He just hooks it and pulls it through on the right side for the RBI and his second hit, including a walk. The only time the Giants retired Chris today was on a line drive to center field. Now, yesterday we had a 4-star Air Force general here throwing out the first pitch, and they had it was a C-17 that flew over, a little smaller than the Galaxy 5, but they had a 2-star Air Force general today, and I said, well, sir, what type of plane is going to fly over for you today? And he looked at one of his aides and he said, well, there is no flyover. And this general, who is at Cheyenne, he's the commander at the Cheyenne big Air Force base there, and they do a lot of space and satellites. Very smartly goes, there'll be 520 plus satellites flying over during my throw over. He was in charge of all the satellites that are sent up in the military. He also said that a graduate from a high school here in St. Louis, and said at 63 to like 67 was an usher.
I talked to him before the game. He said halfway through the season of '67, he was an usher.
I introduced myself to him before, earlier, and he said, "I know who you are. I get satellite. I get DirecTV. Watches the games." He said, "Thank goodness for that." There's Sputnik going over.
You want to tell us straight out?
Can't see it. Oh, not only is it Sputnik, but it's also Steve Klein in the bullpen. He was on Sputnik.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Runners at first and second, nobody out here in the Cardinals half of the 7th. Bennett fouls it back again. Miles on deck.
Ray Bennett, one of those unsung heroes, just good guy that understands he's a backup to one of the best in the game now, Yadier Molina, and not easy to play sparingly and try to contribute, but his teammates realize his value. So does the Cardinals.
Cardinal fan in Israel emailing us. Double play ball 463. Says he gets up at 2 a.m. to watch the Cardinals. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. I read that with authority, Al. One ball, one strike. I think I could get used to these Sunday afternoon games. I'm telling you.
You know, 7-0 leads.
Put up all these runs. Miles out to right for the third and final out. Cardinals pick up another run. They lead it 7-0. American TV is teaming up with the Cardinals to allow fans the opportunity to select the Player of the Month. Visit any St. Louis American TV store and cast your ballot for the Cardinals Player of the Month. Each month, American is giving one lucky fan a new 26-inch LCD TV to watch their favorite player on. Stop by an American TV store today and vote. First pitch to Vizquel is grounded to short. 7-0 game, and these guys are up there swinging. We've got the All-Star break, Al.
I think they're just saying, got a long flight back to the West Coast. Some guys maybe even leaving from here have 3 days off. In the Cardinals' case, they got 4. So it's kind of like, okay. I remember Tony's theory is pitcher trying to get ahead, so that first pitch may be the best pitch you see. Right now, we like it.
Here is Durham, and the first pitch he sees is pulled foul.
It's also a final. Milwaukee loses to Washington Nationals 7-2.
How about Dimitri Young? He'll be at the All-Star game representing the Nationals.
Happy for the former Cardinal #1 draft pick. And after some very good years, but some personal problems and everything, he's got his life ironed out and back being a productive baseball player. Looks like we're going to see Kleiner in the bottom of this inning.
Another grounder, 2 short. Ryan, 2 outs. I had a question about JT Snow. You know exactly where he is at this point, Al?
He's
in the Giants organization.
Yeah, he's a special assistant, I believe, to the general manager. And JT moves into the front office this year after retiring from his 15-year big league career. 6-time Gold Glove first baseman.
Did you hear what just happened? Franson is the pinch hitter. This would be Bond's spot up, and John Hewlett thought Bonds was going to hit, so he announced Bonds. They start booing Franson, and he starts laughing about it.
Well, Freddie Lewis got booed the other day when he made a catch right after he replaced Barry Bonds in left field for defensive purposes, and he was booed. Hey, it's a compliment to be booed on the road.
2 balls and no strikes. (3-0).
Franklin was tired all 5 batters he's faced for the pinch hitter.
Franson on the year, 1 home run, 14 RBIs, and hitting .267. And that's ball 4. 2-out walk, and that spot in the lineup has been walked a lot this weekend. So Bonds will leave St. Louis with no home runs, stuck at 751 at the break.
It's one of the still no home runs in this new ballpark.
It's actually just 1 for 11. Last home run he hit against the Cardinals was against Jeff Suppan. Klesko down the left field line, Duncan over, and it's out of play.
Franklin tried to throw a split finger pitch that did not split. It became a splash hit in San Francisco earlier this year.
So technically the last home run given up in St. Louis by a Cardinal was Suppan, and then the last home run period was Franklin. Nothing and 2 the count on Klesko. We're in the 8th, 7-0 St. Louis. Oh, 2 pitch. Strikeout. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's all Cardinals this afternoon. It's 7-0.
Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud.TV, where entertainment is always on and only on www.bud.tv. By Chevrolet, meet the all-new Silverado 2007 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. See for yourself, shop, compare at stlchevy.com. And by Advance Auto Parts, providing car care know-how to protect your investment. We're ready in advance. Well, Dan, this has been all St. Louis today as Steve Klein will enter this game. Cardinals leading 7-0. Barry Zito started this game. He's on the line for the loss, and Todd Wellemar is in line for his 3rd victory.
Good old Kleiner.
Kleiner. Steve Klein, one of our favorites. He's 0-1 this year, ERA under 4. Lefties are batting .304 against him, righties .305. But he is unscored upon in 26 of 32 outings. And a nice ovation for Steve. Well deserved. He treated the fans with utmost respect. Good guy, and he always hoped some of the other pitchers or players would kind of see how to treat fans. And so Taguchi, wasn't it nice the other night after he made the big error and cost the Cardinals a ball game? Last night he pinch hit and got a nice ovation, and then got a base hit to get things started in the comeback.
First pitch, a strike from Klein. I said to Steve one time, if you weren't left-handed and couldn't throw a baseball, what would you do? Professional wrestling, he says.
I mean, he's not now.
He's the real wrestling, Al.
No, he helps out one of his buddies, a wrestling coach at I'm trying to think of the university in Pennsylvania, Bucknell. That's when he gets in shape so he can start spring training and begin the progress of getting out of shape. Pretty durable. He's made this start here. He passes Tommy John, or this appearance passes Tommy John for 15th on the all-time all left-handed list.
Down the left field line, that is a foul ball.
Steve now has made 761 career appearances. That's good for 15th place. Mark Guthrie and Knowles are tied for 13th with 765. Leads majors with 715 appearances since 1998. At least 60 appearances in the last 9 seasons.
3-2 pitch, ground ball hit to short. Just watch Vizquel and how he circles the baseball, gets himself in a position to throw. He is perfect out there for any young player. I mean, just take a look at number 13. He is amazing.
And 40 years of age, and he wears the old-fashioned sunglasses. He doesn't know how to put those things on the top of his head. He just flips them up. It doesn't really need them, but get a pop-up like Brendan Ryan, he just flips them down.
Talked about this roster being older for San Francisco, but you know, he's a guy that keeps himself in great shape, wants to play another couple of years.
Not hitting a whole lot right now, but he had a good series against the Cardinals.
1 ball, 1 strike on Brendan Ryan. A couple of hits today. 2 for 4, 2 runs scored. Spezio is at the on-deck circle.
Ryan had a nice year last year, and they lost one of their other lefties to free agency. Feliciano went to the Mets, so they decided in the last year they extended his contract to another year. Afraid they'd lose Kleiner after this year. So
crowd of 44,613 today. Vizquel again. 2 outs. Remind you again, Tuesday night is the All-Star game from San Francisco. Albert Pujols will be there. Tony La Russa and his staff. And Joe Buck and Tim McCarver on Fox. Presented in high definition, 7 o'clock Tuesday night.
Scott Spezio is going to pinch hit for Ryan Franklin, who pitched 2 solid innings. One blemish was a walk. And it looks like Izzy will close out this ball game, get a little work before the All-Star break.
Washington, as Al told you, beat Milwaukee 7-2. Capuano took the loss. He's 5-6 on the season. Fielder with a couple of RBIs. Pittsburgh over Chicago 6-2. Zambrano takes a loss in that game. He's now 10-7. Wasn't he supposed to win the Cy Young Award, Al?
Yes, he said he was.
Still half a season to go. You never know.
Cubbies have had a lot of trouble facing the Pirates in Pittsburgh in particular.
Off speed pitch. Spezio out in front. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bottom of the 8th, Houston leading New York 8-3. Oswald is in line for that win if they can hold on. Cincinnati and Arizona tied up at 3-3.
It's pretty clean for Steve, isn't it?
I think it's dirty. It's a dark cap. You can't really tell just how dirty it is.
Oh. So you really think it was a white cap?
See, look at
the kind of looks dark.
Look at the logo. Logo's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not brilliant orange.
And a swing and a miss. Klein, good work. Scoreless frame. 9th inning coming up. It's 7-0. Isringhausen will pitch the 9th at 7-0. Today's game reset is brought to you by Singular. Singular is now the new AT&T. Cardinals would score 2 runs in the first off of Barry Zito, 2 more in the second, 2 in the 5th, and 1 in the 7th. A rough afternoon for Zito and rough afternoon for the Giants. Barry Zito, 4 innings, 6 runs allowed, 8 hits. He walked 4 and struck out just 3. Duncan with 3 RBIs on the day.
You see, since 57, so last 50 years, minimum of 15 save opportunities where Jason falls in line with Joe Horner on there a couple times.
First pitch to Fred Lewis is taken for a ball. A little tune up here before the break for Isringhausen. You said, Al, very well could have been an all-star this year.
Yeah, but Izzy, just didn't have the opportunities as some of the other guys, as he's had to Taguchi stayed in the game, plays center field. He's got sunglasses on too. Valverde had like 26 when he was here with Arizona, but Izzy's only blown 2 save opportunities, but 14 times he's had to pitch when just to keep sharp in non-save opportunities. So this is 15.
A foul ball off the foot of Lewis. It is official now. Albert Pujols will compete in the home run derby tomorrow night.
Mixed emotions about that. You know, now that he said he's going to do it, you want him to win it, but they say that kind of wears you out. And you say you can pick up some bad habits. I think they use a special ball for the home run derby too.
You do, huh?
I think they use a little loaded one. Why not?
Howard, Cabrera, Fielder, and Pujols will represent the National League at Derby.
And the American League.
It'll be Alex Rios of Toronto, Ordonez, Vladimir Guerrero, and Justin Morneau, last year's MVP. I like the National League's chances. Out to center. So Taguchi puts it away for the first out.
So just enter that ball game, and well, you could just see. I mean, remember when we saw So out there and he was kind of checking the sun and everything? Just in the first at bat, Lewis's at bat went from cloud cover to looks like bright sunshine. That's why you always got to keep on checking, and you always have to be prepared with your sunglasses in the field.
Base hit to right. A-Rod with another home run. He's now got 30 home runs before the All-Star break.
That one year Reggie Jackson had something like 37, and obviously didn't challenge Maris's record back then.
Here's Rodriguez with one out here in the ninth. Double play could end it. The Cardinals have turned 2 today.
He's got his sunglasses on, hitting. Old Palmer, back in the 70s, was a pitcher. He used to wear sunglasses pitching.
Kent DeColby had like the tinted glasses.
Yeah.
You're in the sun this afternoon, which is primarily in that first base line area for the entire game, and also out in right center and left center. Boy, it is hot. More shade down the third base side.
We're in a double play, and that'll be difficult with Pujols playing behind the runner at first. Wynn will pinch hit.
2 outs. Post-game show coming up. Ricky is standing by. Pat Paris and Jim Hayes. We've got our Budweiser Player of the Game coming up, and Budweiser Cardinals Live.
Good luck to Tony La Russa and the National Leaguers in the All-Star game.
They need a win, Al.
Yep, they do. Need this win here. Be a good convincing thumping. We'll have enjoy the All-Star break and come back out fresh for a stretch drive.
Randy Wynn looks at strike one.
You get that good get ahead curveball, you can kind of try and throw it a little harder, throw in the dirt and see if you get somebody to chase. Izzy feels for a left-handed batter or a right-handed batter, the first base side The strike zone is his strength. It's not the third base side where he's going now.
Two 1 pitch. Ouch. 2-2.
Cutter. You got Bennett.
Two pitch. Back to Isringhausen. This should do it. Cardinals avoid the sweep. 7-0 our final this afternoon. Duncan a big afternoon with 3 RBIs. The Cardinals win it 7-0. Budweiser player of the game is coming up. Wellemeyer the win. He's 3-1. Zito takes a loss, 6-9. And the Cardinals win this game and avoid the sweep, 7-0. Todd Wellemeyer, Al, in this game, looked pretty sharp. Only gives up a couple of hits. Didn't go deep into the game as Tony La Russa wanted to get his bullpen some work.
Well, his bullpen has had a lot of work in this homestand. The Cardinals are successful, 3 out of 7 games on the homestand. But how about the bullpen? 20-plus innings of work in the homestand and only 1 earned run.
Big day for Chris Duncan. He's our Budweiser player of the game. He had 3 RBIs on the afternoon, and maybe the biggest hit as he came up with the bases loaded.
Comes up with bases loaded, lefty against lefty. He hooks it down the right field corner. It plates 2, and the Cardinals were off on their 7-0 win. But as you said, there's the 3rd RBI on a 3-hit day.
Our Budweiser player of the game. Congratulations to Chris Duncan. Cardinals win this one 7-0. We send it over to the postgame show and Pat Paris.
Dan, Al, thank you very much. We'll continue with you in just a couple of minutes here on Budweiser Cardinals Live. We will bring you Tony La Russa's comments and interview with the star of the game, Ryan Ludwig, and my partner Ricky Horton will join us with analysis of that and plenty more to come right here on Budweiser Cardinals Live after the Cardinals' victory over the Giants. Stay with us on FSN Midwest.
Live, presented by Budweiser.
Good Sunday afternoon. Welcome back inside Busch Stadium. Cardinals a 7-0 shutout victory over the Giants, and over 44,000 Cardinal fans file out of Busch Stadium and head towards the All-Star break. Pretty happy with their team avoiding the sweep this afternoon at the hands of the Giants. Plenty to come here on Budweiser Cardinals Live. I'm Pat Paris. My partner Rick Horton will join me shortly with analysis. You'll hear Tony La Russa's comments. We'll go inside the Cardinals clubhouse as well. Right now, though, we want to head down on the field. Jim Hayes standing by with Ryan Ludwig, our Mid-America Chevrolet dealer star of the game. Cat, take it away.
Ryan Ludwig ties a career high with 3 hits today. For you guys to end the first half with a win, how big is that?
Just a good win all the way around, from the pitching to the hitting to the defense. Everything was good today, and to get a win like that going into the break, it's a good feeling. Now we got 4 days to kind of kick back and think about things and relax and get back after them the second half.
What about you? Your batting average continues to rise. You feeling more comfortable?
Yeah, no doubt. I felt comfortable before. It's just things are starting to happen now. I'm making more consistent, solid contact, and things are working out.
I'm going to ask you to share. What are you going to do with the days off?
I'm actually staying here in St. Louis. Probably take the wife out to a nice dinner and, like I said, relax and kick back.
I don't have much to do. I'm free if you're looking for a hanger-on for dinner, but I'll send you can text me, all right?
All right. I think my wife would appreciate just me and her a little solo time.
All right. Thanks for the time. I'm not included, gentlemen.
I hate when Jim Hayes, kind of invites himself over to dinner, and that's exactly what he did right there. Jim, thank you very much. Dan, Al, sending it back up to you. And how about the first two hitters in this Cardinals lineup today, including Ludwig, 5 for 9?
Yeah, that was big in this game. We're going to take a look at the first half, and the Cardinals finish up with the win today, Al, 40-45, 7.5 games out. So certainly still in the race in the Central, especially when they add Chris Carpenter.
Yeah, I think that's what you got to do is you just concentrate on getting people healthy. Positive news, you might have Eckstein and Edmonds as soon as first game on the second half or after the All-Star break. Carpenter and Tyler Johnson could join us during that road trip. So things are going the right direction. And, all of a sudden you got to get to 500. You win series. You can pick up it's not unreasonable to pick up a game in the standings every week, and there's plenty of time for this team to get back in the race.
I think, too, when you talk to Walt Jocketty, he'll tell you, people overlook the injury to Carpenter and just how big that is. It has been huge in this first half. You get him back, and that's obviously a huge addition.
Well, I mean, there could be, a 9-10 game swing right there, and it puts you right in contention. And, there's no reason not to think that he's going to come back and be a dominant pitcher. He's one of the best in all of baseball. And, an elbow surgery is kind of probably the least severe of any type of surgery you can have to a pitching arm. So I think everybody's very confident coming back. I talked to Mulder again today. I'm not saying that Mulder's going to be a force this year. He will be much better next year because the shoulder is much different than the elbow. But at least in the last 2 times he's thrown, he's feeling much better about his progress.
And a final question here is for Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan. You've got Wellemeyer, you've got Thompson, you've got Wells, and they're going to try to figure it out tonight on the plane ride to San Francisco, what they want to do with that starting rotation.
Sure, and I mean, we're talking about right now you've got 6 starters for the 5 spots. I thought it was maybe telling that Wellemeyer pitched very well today, but they only allowed him to go 5 innings. He only gave up 2 hits, shutout baseball. He walked 4 in that game, but he was around 80-some pitches, so he could have easily gone another inning. They didn't stretch him out. Kip Wells the other day goes 5 innings in relief, but his whole problem, and he gave up a run in the 5th inning, his problem has always been that he's outstanding for 4 innings. But then from the 5th on, he's got an ERA that's just astronomical.
So a solid win for the Cardinals. They avoid the sweep, 40-45 at the All-Star break. And, Pat, we'll see you on Friday night at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, sounds great, guys. Appreciate your work in the first half, and we'll catch you in the second half after the All-Star break. Right now we want to show you some of the highlights from this afternoon's contest. As Dan mentioned, trying to avoid the sweep. First inning, second and third, nobody out, and Albert Pujols slaps one over Ryan Klesko into right field, an RBI hit there. 52 RBIs now for Pujols' first Cardinal lead of the series. 2 batters later with 1 out, first and third, and that's Scott Rowland. And the fly ball scores Ryan Ludwig on the sac fly, 2-0, 38th RBI for Rowland. Bottom of the second, Brendan Ryan with 1 on, and guy at second, single to center. Dave Roberts misplays it. Aaron Miles scores, and Ryan ends up at third base. Cards have a 3-0 lead. Next guy up, Ryan Ludwig, our star of the game, delivers the RBI double, and it's 4-0. Then to the bottom of the 5th, Chris Duncan. Bases loaded, nobody out, rips one down the right field line. The double plates 2, it's 6-zip. And just for good measure, Chris Duncan decides that he's going to come up in the bottom of the 7th and do some more damage. First and third, nobody out, and he delivers the RBI single. Juan Encarnacion comes home 7-0. Third RBI for Duncan in the game, giving him 47 on the year. And the final, a 7-0 shutout. Cardinals, led by Todd Wellemeyer and 4 relievers, combine on the 5-hit shutout. Wellemeyer very good, much more on him coming up. Let's bring in Rick Horton for a little analysis, the former Cardinal hurler. And Rick, I mentioned earlier that it was a matter of the first 2 guys in the lineup, maybe guys that before the season began you would have said Ryan Ludwig and Brendan Ryan who, and they go 4 for 5 today.
Yeah, they had a great afternoon here at the top of the lineup, but I also like Chris Duncan's swings against the left-hander Barry Zito. And I think Ryan Ludwig actually described this game very well in the post-game interview where he said this was a team effort, and I really believe that's what it was. Cardinals had 2 games exactly like this against Arizona where really they did everything well from top to bottom. They fielded well today, 12-hit attack, and evenly spread out as well, almost everybody into the offensive action, and the pitching was very good today. Todd Wellemeyer didn't have the greatest of control. He had a lot of walks today, but he threw up a bunch of zeros, and that's all that matters.
Didn't give up the hits, and as often happens in sports, you get hyped up, and all the hype, nationally, even locally, was about Barry Bonds coming in this weekend. But Rick, you know what? This Cardinal pitching staff and Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan's plan against the guy chasing Hank Aaron just 4 shy and remains 4 shy, it was pretty good the way they approached him.
Well, I think the attack with Bonds in this series was don't let him beat you when there's guys on base, and go at him when he's hitting with nobody aboard, perhaps leading off an inning. This is Bonds against Mike Maroth, and he actually gets a 3-6-3 double play. Now, he's got to pitch to him here because of the situation. That ended up being one of many double plays the Cardinals actually had in this series. Well, a couple of other times, Maroth doesn't have to pitch to Bonds. He walks him this time, walks him again. We're not done with the walks, folks. This is riveting TV, watching guys walk. There's 3 in a row. That's Percival right there. 4 straight walks, again, or balls to walk him in that first game. Looper walks him. That is actually 4 walks in a row of Barry Bonds. Then he comes back in and strikes him out. Looking, Barry Bonds doesn't like that call. He said, man, I didn't know they were going to throw me a strike in this series. Walked him again. That's 4 out of 5 times. So Bonds hitless in this series, but his on-base percentage almost 500. And then the Cardinals decide to pitch to him. Now that you know, the damage is done here, and we know we can get other guys out, we're just going to go ahead and pitch to you. We've got a lead. Randy Flores got him to pop out, and today 0 for 3. Todd Wellemeyer got him to fly out to 7. Kind of a meaningless little pop out to left. And then the next time he just blows him away with a fastball up in the zone. Not many folks can do that with Mr. Bonds. That's 0 for 2, and then another pop up with Troy Kate. So Barry Bonds hitless in St. Louis. All the hype about 752 never happened. And you know, by the way, Pat, this is not the first time we've had a home run chase in St. Louis.
No.
A guy named George Herman Ruth. You've heard of him.
Yes.
He was in a home run chase for the all-time home run lead back 86 years ago. He hit his 138th career home run on July 12th off of a guy named Dixie something or other for the St. Louis Browns here in St. Louis to take the all-time lead. He hit a lot more. He set the bar pretty high. Yeah. But 138 was at that time the home run king.
That's pretty amazing. And boy, times have changed. And Barry Bonds' time is time to move on out of St. Louis if he wants to continue his assault on Hank Aaron's record. He'll have to do it after the All-Star break. When we come back on Budweiser Cardinals Live, we're going to take you downstairs. Tony La Russa's thoughts about his team's victory, 7-0 shutout this afternoon over the Giants, and more analysis coming up as well here on FSN.
Hits a rocket, and Jimmy gets into this one high in the air to right field. That ball is gone. Duncan unloads out to deep right field. Get going. Goodbye. Good catch. Dives, yes. What a catch. Izzy with a bare-handed grab, and that is ripped into deep right field. It's well hit, and this ball is gone. Another one for Duncan. Deep, and this ball is gone. This one is out of here. A grand slam for Duncan. At the wall, and his Pujols going deep. Taguchi wins it from his knees. Oh, what a play. This has got a chance. Back.